my channel, it's your girl V, and I'm finally back with a highly requested video. This video has everything related to studying abroad. I have previously done 2 videos. I will link them in the card section, but this video is going to be that and everything on a whole. Because this is a whole lot of information, I will be organizing everything in chronological order. So I'll be starting from what's the first thing you do to presently how my life is here in Canada, my status and all of that, my experience. I'm gonna go through all of that in this one video, and I hope you guys do appreciate it because this is the 5th time I'm filming this and I'm going insane. At any point you find this information useful or helpful, make sure to bust a like and also share it to anybody who's interested in studying overseas. Even though I'm specifically talking about Canada, I'm sure some of the tips that I will share in this video would apply to somebody who's also planning on studying overseas elsewhere outside Canada. So let's just roll out into the video. When you're thinking about applying overseas, you're kind of stuck. You don't know where to start. The first thing you need to do is research. That's going to be the top thing on your checklist of things to do. Research the school that you're interested in to apply into, as well as the programs they offer, as well as the requirements for getting into that program, and of course the tuition, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, so the cost in schools for international students, it varies from different colleges and universities. Again, you have to do your own personal research to find out how much it would cost for the program that you're going to apply to. And once you find out all of that and the monetary commitment, you know what steps to take next. Do not be discouraged, my friends. I know that the tuition for international students is ridiculously high. I think it's unfair, and you know, that's just how things are right now. Like, that's how universities make their dope. So it is what it is. But you're feeling discouraged, you don't know, like, this is a lot of money. So there's 3 ways on the top of my head you can fund going to school overseas. Is either through a personal self-fund, whether it be your savings or a college fund that your parents or grandparents like opened up for you, because if that's the case, you are lucky. And the other 2 is funding it through a loan from a bank or a loan shark, whichever safe way you want to borrow money. For it to be funded by a loan, you know, you can either go to a bank or any financial institution that does offer loans. The whole process behind it, I am not sure, I can't speak to you on that, but obviously you can speak to whoever you plan on borrowing money from about that to get more information. And the other way is scholarships. So it's a little bit tricky with scholarships. If you were lucky enough to get a scholarship, like a full scholarship to cover your whole 4 years, 2 years, 3 years, however long, if you read a scholarship paper and there's an agreement for you to go back home after you finish, you cannot stay in Canada. So now that's out of the way. A lot of people think that scholarship is scarce, but that's really not the case. We just don't know where to look. Out of the goodness of my heart, personally done research, and I leave links down below for scholarships that are available to international students. You're welcome. Another thing in regarding to scholarships, you can also get bursaries from the schools that you apply to. So the thing is, depending on the school, sometimes they offer entry-level scholarships or entry-level bursaries based on your financial need, your grades and all of that. It's a good look. Like, if you maintain a good grade, you might possibly get the opportunity to get some sort of money towards your education. Some of them you don't have to apply to. You're automatically entered once you apply to the school. Others you do have to physically apply, paper-based, to get that scholarship. So with that being said, research your school website to see what scholarships they have available for you as international students, and see what you can actually get in regarding to bursaries from the school. So once you get accepted, you can do all that. So don't worry too much about the money right now. You can afford it, and there's a way to afford it. So I know it was a little bit stressful, it was shocking, especially for my mom. But thank you, Mom, for the sacrifice that you made. Shout out to your girl. I know the monetary commitment of going to school is like kind of like freaking you out. You have no idea how you're going to afford it, but when there's a will, there's a way. Okay, so once you find the school and once you figure out how you're going to pay for school, your next step is to apply. So in my previous video, I did tell you guys about Ontario colleges. where you can apply to 5 colleges for one set fee, and they deal with like mostly everything. Again, I'll leave that in the description box. I do think there's another Ontario Universities thing. Is it? I think there is. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it in the description box so you can check them both out, decide on what you want to do, whether you want to apply to college or university. Generally for admissions, a high school transcript is required, but I'm not sure how much of my subscribers are actually from the Caribbean. But if you're from the Caribbean, they request your high school transcript as well as your CXC grades. Normally all the paperwork is done through Ontario College's website. They will take care of requesting your CXC grades from CXC and all that. I actually have somebody said that they have a bachelor's degree from Jamaica. How do they go about into applying for school? So basically you still do everything through that Ontario College's University's website. They'll request an ECA, which is an education credential assessment, where they assess your bachelor's degree and see if it's up to par to an equivalent bachelor degree there in wherever you want to study. And with that, they take that transcript instead of your high school transcript, because it has to be your most recent education. And it's just simple 1, 2, 3. I think, do not quote me on this, I think the amount for ECA is 300 Canadian. I did not need an ECA for my high school transcript. They only do ECAs for bachelor degrees and upward. And what you don't know, they would also talk to you about it, so you guys don't like stress over anything. It's really 1, 2, 3. If you don't know, ask. And in God's willing, you get accepted and you're excited. Woo! Congratulations! You're going to use that acceptance letter to get your study visa. So I can only speak for Canada, but you can apply through csc.gc.ca. They have like an online questionnaire thing where you can answer the questions, and then they create or generate a list of the things, the documents that you're going to need. You can also research the site for procedures and all of that to help yourself out. I can't really go in depth with all that because I'm not sure exactly what they require from you in this day and age, because that was like 5 years ago. So yeah. So after you've gotten your study visa and you're getting ready to go to Canada, I think a question somebody asked me is what you're allowed to bring with you at school. Yourself. I didn't have to think about this. I really just packed clothes. That's pretty much all I brought. So yeah, you're planning to come to Canada. All you need to do is bring your stuff. In regards to school and all that, you don't have to worry about supplies. You can get everything here. Once you get here, just make sure you bring like your basic starter kit, which is yourself, your clothes, any products, whether it be feminine or hygienic products, or just little things that you think you'll need to start off. In regarding to school supplies and all that, you can get that once you get here. You don't really have to fuss about getting it when you're home, so don't really worry about that stuff. Anyways, once you get to Canada and say that you're going to school for a couple months and you want to go home to see your family, please note that you cannot come back to Canada with just a study visa. It only permits one entry, which is the first entry for when you're coming to Canada to study. You can't leave and be able to come back. Now don't be frightened, there's a way that you can actually do that, and you can apply for a visitor visa. Again, you can do that online, csc.gc.ca, and it will give you the questionnaire. You fill that all out and do that, bam bam slam, and you get a visitor visa, so you may be able to re-enter the country if you decide to leave. So I think that's a tip. Next thing, you're in school and you're thinking about getting a part-time job and you're figuring, can you work? Yes, you can work, and it was recently changed. Well, not so recently. Conveniently, they decided to change the law, whereas a student will be able to work without a work permit. And the hassle for me to get that one work permit, oh my god. As a student, you can work for certain hours a week without applying for a work permit, which is great news. You guys are so lucky. So yeah, you can get a part-time job. You can go anywhere and look for a part-time job. I got a part-time job, but I got a part-time job on campus, and it will be easier for anybody who's actually living on campus to get a job on campus, because that is just like perfect, right? Just like cross a corridor or down a hall for work, and then you just run to class. That's like ideal. I had to take a bus. So yes, you will get the opportunity to work, and I think later this year, I think our minimum wage here in Canada right now is $14, which is a very good look. Next year it's gonna be $15, so it's nice, and obviously whatever cash that you make you can go put towards getting personal stuff for yourself, whether it be clothes, getting school supplies, or mere entertainment and food and all that. Like, it'll make it a little bit easier for you to actually have something to fund yourself. When I started working, it was only $10.50. So anybody coming to Canada in this day and age and next year, you're lucky. So you're finishing college / university, and you're about to graduate, and you're thinking about working and staying and living in Canada. How you go about in doing all of that? Once you graduate, you can apply for a work permit, and that work permit is a document that will allow you to work full-time here in Canada. It's called a postgraduate work permit, which is normally granted the same length of your program. So if you decided to do an honors program for 4 years, your work permit is going to be valid for 4 years. It might not be valid for 4 years at that one point, but you'll be able to apply again and get it for the remaining of the amount of time. Just to explain an example, you did a 4-year program and you apply for a work permit and they only give you 2 years, you'll be able to reapply again and get another 2 years, and that will cover the 4 years of how many times you can actually apply for another work permit. Now you're coming to the expiry dates of your work permit that was valid for 4 years. What do you do? Like, do you have to go home at this point after you basically spent 4 years working and having a life here in Canada? No. As soon as you hit one year work experience, you'll be eligible to make an express entry profile, and by certain factors they will calculate points for you and invite you to apply for permanent residence under a specific class. For those who normally come to Canada on a study visa, they are invited to apply under the Canadian Experience class. Again, you can get more information from the CSC website, and once that application is approved, you're a permanent resident. You're free to leave whenever you need to without having a visitor visa and all of that. It's basically being a citizen but without the right to vote. You can get health coverage and benefits from the government. It's called OHIP here in Canada, in Ontario, and yeah, and that basically cover everything from 0 to 10 in regarding to studying abroad. So now I'm going to move on to my personal experience studying here in Canada and currently living here in Canada. I started my paralegal studies program in May, and the program was actually a 2-year diploma program, but I decided to do the 16 months continuous because I wanted to finish as soon as possible. I do have an aunt living here, and she was living close to the school that I got accepted to, so I stayed with her, so I didn't have to worry about on-campus boarding and all of that, which was less money for me, thankfully. So because I started in May, I had mostly mature students in my class, but there was a few people who were actually around my age, but they're just way older than me. Trust me, like, these kids are huge. Like, compared to them, they were looking like 26, 25, and I was looking like 13 and 12. I met nice people, but I didn't actually develop like strong friendships with anybody. Why? I'm honestly not sure. I guess it was just probably because I didn't try hard enough, I guess. So my personal experience going to Sheridan College was pretty much how school is going to be. I got a on-campus job at the student union. I worked as a customer service representative, and so I started in May, and I started working in August, and I stayed working until I graduated, so that was just like perfect for me. I mean, it was like any other experience, I guess. I thought it was gonna be like what you see on TV, but it was not that at all. There wasn't much of a culture shock because they do have clubs that had I think there was a Caribbean Association club thing. I didn't really go that often just because, I don't know, I was a homebody. I was kind of lazy. I joined the Toastmasters club. I did that for like 2 semesters and kind of stopped because I started picking up extra shifts. Yeah, and then it was just okay. It was just, I guess it was just like normal. I don't really like, I didn't have any complaints about school. Simple. The work for me was like really like seriously easy. Not to brag or anything like that. I got mostly A's, so it was possible. I graduated with a 3.93 GPA. I didn't find the work very challenging at all, and maybe it wasn't challenging for me because I'm from Jamaica, and the educational system in Jamaica is like, well, educational system in Caribbean is like so much more advanced. than what it is here in Canada. So I think you have a very strong educational foundation if you're coming from the Caribbean to study. So it should be relatively easy for anybody who has no problem with studies and stuff like that. So in regarding to the environment, it was pretty chill. What I didn't like, it was I don't want to sound prejudiced or anything like that, but there wasn't much diversity on that campus, on the Sheridan-Brampton campus. But I went to like events on the different campuses, and there's like much more diversity at the other campus. But just for the campus that I attended, there wasn't much diversity in it. So in regarding to like races of people, so there wasn't that much black people, there wasn't that much white people. It was just mostly Indians. So it wasn't a really diversified campus. And my program also had like a placement, what's it called, field placement or field practicum, where you have to work 4 weeks in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, where you have to work 4 weeks in an environment related to your field of study. So my paralegal program, I went to a legal services branch with the government. I was very nervous about that because I didn't have much cash, and the 4 weeks practicum was actually unpaid. So I was pretty nervous about that because I was like, how am I going to find the money to go there? Like, and plus when I graduated, my loan didn't cover the full amount of my school fee. So luckily when I started working with the government, they always pay students. Whatever money I made from that job, I got to finish paying off my school fee, and then they decided to release my transcript and my certificate. They didn't release it just because I didn't finish paying for school. So that's a thing that can happen. Not scary or anything, but that's a thing that can happen if you don't finish paying for school. They won't give you your certificate or your diploma or whatever. So because of my practicum, I managed to eventually secure permanent employment with them. So I've been working with them since I graduated. It's a really good experience. Not exactly where I want to be, but it's close enough to the job prospect of what I went to school for. So I mean, I can't really complain. It pays good and it's allowed me to make a living. I can't really tell you what are your chances of getting a job fresh out of school should you come to Canada, but there are opportunities, and if you look hard enough, you'll find something. There's always something out there. I've never heard of anyone in Canada complaining about there's not enough jobs. So I say that it might not be the jobs that you want, but they do have jobs available. So there is hope, and then you can still continue looking for a job that you would rather have. But who really has a job that they're like 100% satisfied with? You know, like I'm not, because I'm looking to advance my career sooner or later. So like that's that. But that's my experience with school and everything. Right now, after I worked with the government for a year, I've made my express entry profile. There was a lot of immigration changes and all of that, and then the mix-up and not staying in the loop kind of like put me back and all of that, but I tried to keep up with it, and eventually I'm now invited to apply for permanent residence. This is my second time. The first time it got denied. I'm not going to get into it because I did explain it in another video. You can go check that out. And now I'm on my second round and I'm waiting to get my permanent residence. At this point, I think it's going to work out. I have hope and I've prayed that it will. And yeah, and then I will soon become a permanent resident, and then I can live stress-free for a little bit and all of that. So that's pretty much my experience. I did spoke to one of my subscribers on Snapchat. I don't know if she said it's Nye or NY, I'm not sure, but shout out to you, girl. She's a very loyal subscriber. So I asked her a question, asking her to tell me what she would like to know in regarding to the study abroad thing. One of the questions that she asked is, what was your experience like in Canada? I did explain that just now. It's relatively good. I have no complaints. I got a job, I'm working, I have a living, I'm not starving, I'm not begging anybody for anything, so I'm okie dokie. She asked, is it more expensive or cheaper to live in Canada or in Jamaica? I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest. I'll just put it this way. For me, I am living a better life here in Canada than Jamaica, mainly because of my safety concerns and the fact that there are jobs available. It has a better life expectancy. Yeah, I think it's just better to live in Canada than it is Jamaica. And I'm not batching my country because bless up to Jamaica, but the economy in Jamaica is not doing good right now, and I think I'm just better off here than I am in Jamaica. So yeah. How long did it take you to get residency in Canada, and tips how to get credits to get residency in Canada? So as I told you, I'm still getting residency. There is something called NOC, National Occupation something. Sorry, I don't remember, but I'll leave a link down in the description box. I can go more in depth in it once I get my permanent residence approved. If you guys want me to do a video on that, I'll leave it in the card section so you guys can vote. It's based on your factors of your age, your work experience, your education, and your language. And basically, I think there's a new one if you have a sibling in Canada. I think there's a few more. Again, you can go and research it on the cic.gc.ca website. And finally, what questions do they ask you in Canadian Embassy? I barely remember the questions that they asked me because it was just like basic questions. So it's nothing really hard to work through and all of that. All they really want to know is that once your visa expires and you don't have a valid permit or visa to stay, would you return home? That's all Canada really cares about. If you're gonna come back here, if you don't have a status anymore. So I think that's one of the questions that they ask, and they also look on your previous immigration records, like either if you went anywhere else and your overstay, your validity. I think and I hope that I've answered all the questions, and I hope I really explained my personal experience here in Canada. It's great. I love it here, I'm not going to lie. The only thing I really do miss my close friends. So I wish I could make closer friendships with people, but to be honest, I am not really trying, so that's my fault. Not anybody else. It's not like I haven't met people. I've actually met great people here. I just haven't made the effort to go out because I'm such a homebody. Like, I'm literally a homebody, and I'll be home and then complain about I'm wasting my life, I'm not going out. But when I'm on the road, I want to come back home. Like, it just... Anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you find this video helpful, make sure to bust a like so I know, and remember to vote in the card section, and remember to check out the description box where I leave all the links for you guys. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!